Shopify Kryptonite with Mikko and Teemu, and this is going to be a good one. We're going to be talking about retargeting. Welcome, Mikko. What's going to be the tip of the week?
Hello, Teemu. So good to see you. So, tip of the week is following. It's actually interesting. Uh, that's a discussion we had with some of our clients lately. As you know, there has been COVID, there has been changes in business, and some have had really tough months lately. The others have been super successful. And the discussion we had was based on that uh, merchant can actually learn more based on a month that didn't work out when it comes to sales quite as good as the successful months. So when the month doesn't go as planned, if you have less sales issues or stuff like that, then you end up gathering the data, looking at your key KPIs, and pretty much more understanding what's happening with your business. You maybe even up looking at sessions, comparing them, understanding that what should I do long term. So my recommendation is that even if you have lousy months or months that have issues, those can be very important for your future. Look back at the data, compare what happened last year, what happened last month, what can I learn from this month? How can I get back on my growth path?
Perfect. I've been there. I've done that. I think the only thing that I've learned is that how can I do 4 sales? So if the sales are complete shit, I've kind of figured out a way how I can still push goods out to the market and make sure that I have a cash flow in that month as well. But I think it's a good idea to kind of step back, consider, have a good look on the data, and then do better decisions. But let's not get stuck into that. We're gonna have maybe my favorite topic of out of them all, because we have the real expert in the growth marketing department, you. So we're going to be talking about retargeting. We did an episode back in the days about retargeting, what it is, how to do it, but we can kind of now go a bit deeper into the retargeting. So I don't think that we need to explain anymore what retargeting is, but we could probably talk about the best ways how you can do it. So if we go into the Facebook and Instagram world, I think we could share some lessons there, and then maybe have a discussion about the kind of different channels or the different ways we can do retargeting with. What do you think?
Absolutely. One of my favorite topics. Bring it on.
Well, if we go into the Facebook world, we go into the Instagram world. What would be the kind of level 2, level 3 way of doing good retargeting there now with the current situation and the world as it is?
Good point. So, in retargeting, you will access those people who have visited your store, added to cart, or even purchased from you before. You want to reach them so your ads get them back into your sales funnel and get some sales. When you look purely now, let's talk first about Facebook and Instagram. The basic thing here is to understand that you can reach people up to 180 days from their purchase or their first visit or so on. So you can track them for a very long period of time. And then the slightly more advanced step is to upload your existing client database to Facebook so that you can create a so-called custom audience. So there you can upload your existing former clients, and then you can extend the period of time that you can even catch up with clients who purchased from you 1 year ago or 1.5 years ago. So that's probably slightly more advanced step, and that's a step that I strongly recommend, especially if you have separate channels. If you are a omni-channel brand, you are not using Shopify POS for some reason, you have this client database, so you can also target those persons who have given you the right to advertise, and you can do highly targeted retargeting there. And then if you want to even more, go one step further, make sure that you upload not just the email addresses but the phone numbers. So those are the two data points that Facebook these days uses to recognize those purchasers or visitors or your key clients. So make sure that you upload both of those tabs, and this gives Facebook the maximum way to reach those persons. And then looking further, like, okay, I have now uploaded my clients there as some custom audience. One fairly often seen but basic mistake is that you somehow limit retargeting. You are limiting it to one single channel, such as Instagram, or you're limiting it to a certain platform, such as only mobile users. When it comes to retargeting, you should probably use all the possible channels within Facebook's umbrella to reach those potential clients. So key takeaways: make sure that you are using all the platforms, all the channels, and also make sure that you have uploaded your existing customer database as a custom audience. And that custom audience you might also want to use as a seed file for your lookalike files or lookalike audiences if you have roughly 3,000 to 4,000 or more. Then that's helpful also, not just in retargeting, but customer acquisition. How does that sound, Teemu?
I'm getting excited even more and more. I'm kind of waiting for in my personal business, I'm waiting to get enough data that I can kind of switch the way I'm going to do my paid ads, both the custom acquisition and the retargeting part. I've found a few good ways how I've kind of done a bit different retargeting this season. It seems to be working pretty well. What I'm curious about is the content. I know that you've been a kind of a big in favor of not putting in the promotions or the discounts early on in the retargeting funnel. Is it still so, or is there some kind of new efficient tricks we can do with the content wise? What kind of messaging, what kind of promotions, where should we kind of put those?
Good point. It always depends on your case and your brand. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to say? When do you give discounts? If you give them, do they feel personal, or do they feel just like general, that they are for everybody? That's something that you need to take very carefully. So you can create definitely discounts there. You can generate discounts for private persons, such as my VIP persons only, or have a discount campaign running for a limited time. But before proceeding to discounts, I would look at the matter from more general perspective, which then is that, hey, what kind of content altogether to put to my retargeting phase or the funnel phase of retargeting? And I'm always like keep ranting about customer reviews. You should probably have customer reviews there. If you have some influencers, if you have the ability to use their content, that would be great there. If you see existing clients being happy about the product tool, like user-generated content, that's a golden nugget that should be there. So those are the basic tips and tricks what I would put there. But these days I feel that, especially now with COVID, what you should have there, you should have stories. You should try to stand out. You should make sure that, why do I exist? What's the reason of my existence? What's the core DNA of my brand? What are my values? You should bring your values here, be very bold about those, and then communicate these with the clients. So this is actually excellent retargeting. And one key takeaway already from 2016 Finnish baby box era, where I was back then, was that we had frequently asked questions, and we replied to these questions in our retargeting ads. That was amazing. That actually gave less pressure to our customer service. Plus, people felt that was so honorable and fun when our CEO was answering to our customers' existing questions, which kept repeating day after day. So that was sort of nice way to tackle an issue and generate more sales at the very same time. So make sure to create enough and all different types of content for retargeting. Don't just push for purchase, try to tell more about your brand, your story, your key benefits, and your existing clients.
Again, tons of valuable information. I'm getting all the ideas about the brand messages. I think my brand is getting out there, but usually in times of difficulties, the first thing that the human mind does is that we kind of go where the limit is the lowest. So we're going to be pushing for the sales in the retargeting part, which might kind of give a short-term effect. But then again, on a 1 month or a quarter perspective, we're going to be maybe losing part of the business because we've been way too aggressive with the kind of the communications in the retargeting part. That's a great point. If we go outside the paid ads world, any tips there we could kind of do with the retargeting part?
Well, yeah, that's a tough one. It's probably better that you would answer as a merchant yourself. You're able to do email stuff. What are you doing there yourself?
Yeah. Well, obviously with Klaviyo, I've been using the abandoned cart funnel, which has been pretty good. In my mind, that's partly a retargeting campaign as well. Somebody has proceeded all the way to the checkout and they didn't make a purchase. So the abandoned cart funnel is basically in 3 steps where the third part is going to give you a discount if you haven't purchased before. But otherwise, I'm kind of starting the dialogue with the customer with a kind of customer care view that we're going to be addressing the customer that do you have concerns related to the order. We do refunds or we do returns if the sizing isn't right, if you have any quality issues. We ship anywhere in the world, and so on and so on. And one thing I've been doing pretty well was abandoned browsement funnel that I did as a retargeting campaign. So basically, when the customers had been, these are customers who are already my subscribers. So I have their emails. They've clicked one of the links in Klaviyo, and then they go into certain product pages, or they go into certain collection pages. So I could actually create a flow where those customers would then actually get designated emails based on their browsing history if they had been clicking the links that I had in Klaviyo. And that was pretty well. It didn't create such a huge return on kind of ad spend. Well, I don't have any cost on single emails in Klaviyo, but it was getting sales. And I kind of had the feeling that I couldn't confirm with data that the customers are taking those emails as a good customer service from the brand, because it's based on the things that they did on the site. They are getting targeted emails about apparel, about fishing gear, about kind of the things that they did on the site. So I'm kind of thinking that was a good thing that we did. So you can do quite a few things with Klaviyo as a kind of a retargeting thing. And now, as I had a quick talk with you last week, I kind of created the newsletter list to be a retargeting audience in my Facebook Business Manager. So if I'm doing kind of big campaigns that I only want to do for my subscribers, then I can show the same paid ads with a twist for them in the social media channels. So it's such a great world when you kind of get into the world of retargeting.
Sounds awesome. But how about Teemu? Would you want to reach the next level? What would be next steps for you?
Well, I'm kind of, as I told you just before we started recording, that I need to test again that do I have enough emails and phone numbers that I could kind of start creating the lookalikes. Facebook, I think they did some switches in the algorithms that you need to have a bit more confirmed emails or phone numbers. Because until now, the way how I've done the paid campaigns has been that I've been kind of creating these audiences based on preferences, and they're localized groups of people. So either one country or group of countries. and it's hard work to maintain kind of a lot of those groups. So I would want to be in the scaling part now, where I can do the new customer acquisition with the lookalike audiences, and then kind of leverage that in the retargeting part as well. What do you think?
I completely agree with you, and that will help you in new customer acquisition when you get just that critical mass there. But the thing that I would like to still mention to you before we end is that you can also take this to next level. So you can try other sources. That's something that we recommend a lot. So you can go for Google. They call it remarketing. Really good results in Google Ads. You can just, if you wish, concentrate on this remarketing phase. You can do it on YouTube, on Google display ads, wherever Google has its roots in. So you can do that. That definitely gives a kick for the business. And then even if that isn't enough, when going a bit more advanced or a bit different kind of sources, we've done some testing, especially with Twitter ads. In many European countries, that's completely available. They have their own pixel. So if you're looking for a secondary source for retargeting, that's one interesting source for all paid advertising, which you should probably check out. It's not that popular here in Finland, but we've done some excellent cases in Europe and in North America with highly successful targeted Twitter advertising. So again, one more source for you where you can even start playing with very low budgets in the very beginning, and then increase the budgets if you receive any conversions or good results. So that's definitely one. And then finally, before ending, if you are willing to try something completely new, the majority of bigger D2C e-commerces are also exploring all sort of ads networks. Probably one of the best known is Criteo. So that's something that is purely based on retargeting. So that's one that you can keep exploring. And there are also numerous different kind of these ad service networks where you might want to explore. If you are doing any advertising to ASA, there are completely different kind of social media platforms, and quite many of them already these days make available to do paid advertising there and give you some tracking information. So just try out new web networks. If you need a partner, ask for help. So keep exploring. People usually focus just on Facebook and Google, but there are also other alternatives, especially when aiming for bigger markets, either in Europe or North America.
Oh dear, I think I'm gonna know what I'm gonna do next week, and YouTube and Twitter are gonna be, and Criteo are gonna be on the top of my list. Perfect. I think this was a great session. Thank you, Mikko. Again, tons of valuable information. And thank you, everyone. We're going to be back in a week, and it's going to be something related to Shopify and growth marketing. See you then.
Take care. Bye-bye.